Hello my good friends, welcome to the channel Digimon Explained. My name is Jesse and today we are going to discuss a character that was requested quite a few times when looking back at the comment sections. I'm talking about Gallantmon, actually more specifically Gallantmon in its Crimson mode. As I've said in previous videos, in this channel we are also going to pay special attention to the different Digimon modes in the Digimon franchise. I made a playlist specifically for them. There are quite a few and I do think they are worth discussing. Alright. Gallantmon in its Crimson mode. Quite the knight in appearance, right? We are talking about a knight encased in armor that radiates a bright crimson color that emblazons all but its mouth plate, sides, gauntlets and the ankle of the body armor that covers its foot. Now, the reason why it got this color has actually nothing to do with the red skin of its rookie form GUILMON. Remember, GUILMON is red, but once it digivolves into Gallantmon it turns white. Well, it has an armor that is white, let me say it like that. Gallantmon in its Crimson mode has a body clad in armor that shines crimson because it has fully released its power, making its armor portions possess the heat to dye them red. An important question would be the following: as it was able to fully release its power, where did that power even come from? What is its source? We are fortunate enough to have an answer to this question. As you know, the Digimon universe is this grand place harboring lots of creatures, not only digital monsters. And there are digital life forms known as ZERO ARMS, life forms that serve other Digimon as weapons or vehicles. To get into the details, the ZERO ARMS is an abbreviation for Zero Artificial Monsters, even if they are more commonly known as digital living weapons. You won't really see them digivolve like a Digimon, but we're still talking about a life form, meaning that it does indeed function, or well, rather it lives. Only 2 ZERO ARMS artificial monsters have been confirmed, though for the sake of this video only one will be focused on, but I will mention the other one. There is a flying vehicle known as Grani, a flying vehicle with an armor made out of Chrondigizoit that serves as a transport vehicle for Gallantmon. Quite an interesting ally to have, I would say. In the air it can fire a 3-part bolo of energy that has a devastating impact. Very well complementing Gallantmon, I would say, for being a Digimon that excels mostly in close range quarters, even if it does have its fair share of long range projectiles. What's interesting about the ZERO ARMS artificial monsters is that they are able to, at least temporarily, merge with a Digimon. Not sure if all ZERO ARMS weapons can do that, because the DT Digimon Susanomon, wielder of the ZERO ARMS Orochi, which is the large cannon, never really got to merge. But interestingly, as you will see in a moment, merging with a ZERO ARMS artificial monster does create a Digimon with immense power. When Grani merges with Gallantmon, that is when it gains the Crimson mode, a mode which, surprisingly, gave Gallantmon 5 pairs of angelic wings on its back. Quite an interesting addition, as Gallantmon is normally only of the virus type, and virus type Digimon are those with a strong will to bend the rules to their will. In other words, they love to attempt to rewrite the area they live in order to create an environment that better suits them. If it requires the occasional slaughter of Digimon, then that is what we will get. Gallantmon Crimson mode doesn't only belong to the virus type anymore, it also became a part of the vaccine type Digimon. These are those Digimon who return the environments rewritten by virus Digimon back to normal. In essence, Gallantmon in its Crimson mode became a holy knight with the title of Radiant Crimson Knight of Heavenly Wings. And the wings were the source of some interesting comments. Milos Tosik wrote the following: I like that although Gallantmon is now an angelic being and now also has the vaccine attribute, it still has its normal virus attribute and the digital hazard symbol. It is a really nice way to say that yes, we all can have bad sides and we cannot really change that, yet we can move forward despite of it and achieve our best. A good comment, Milos, because you motivate me to help clarify a few things. Sure, Gallantmon gained angelic wings, making it a holy Digimon, at least in appearance, but I think we should be a little bit careful when labeling a Digimon as an angelic being. You see, it isn't the wings that will necessarily show whether a Digimon has angelic roots or some form of angelic heritage. Normally it would be the Holy Ring that usually tells whether a Digimon has angelic roots or not. Now it is still Digimon we are talking about. Some Digimon ended up walking around with the Holy Ring and their holiness has yet to be found, like Tapirmon for example. Some other Digimon like Seraphimon and Ophanimon have no Holy Ring, but they are the Digivolution of Digimon who were wearing at least one. Now can we say that Gallantmon Crimson Mode suddenly belongs to the angelic group of Digimon? No. It is still a knight with respectable holy features, but that does not make it belong to the Digimon angelic hierarchy, despite having the same amount of wings as Seraphimon, the highest rank being among angel Digimon who also rules over all these angels. Gallantmon in his Crimson Mode doesn't even have such responsibilities, and remember, the form is only temporary. But as the amount of wings is synonymous with the strength of an angelic Digimon, it is certainly more than safe to assume that Gallantmon Crimson Mode displays more than average strength. And Marine Solar wrote the following: you should compare it to the other angel Digimon. Even if Gallantmon Crimson Mode is not an angel itself, it is still a holy knight. It clearly has so much wings, not only to fly and be more agile, but also because it is a powerful Digimon that can compete with mostly everything. Yes, Marine, it can indeed compete, but only temporarily. When Gallantmon merged with Grani, it released its power in such a way that it became unable to maintain Crimson Mode for a long duration. Now, I admit I can't stop myself from asking the following: will Gallantmon in its Crimson Mode be strong enough to face a Seraphimon, leader of all angel Digimon? I would say it depends on how long the fight will last, or whether it gained abilities that could end the fight quickly. But let us not get ahead of ourselves, we'll talk about the abilities in a moment. Gallantmon in its Crimson Mode has a Digicore which sealed the digital hazard. For the newcomers, the digital hazard is a symbol resembling a combination of a biohazard and a heavy radiation warning sign. It is a symbol that appears on the bodies of certain Digimon and marks the potential to be highly destructive, and if corrupted, a Digimon with that symbol could threaten the very existence of both the digital world and the human world. In other words, the symbol is somewhat of a power, one that can be controlled by its host, or in the worst circumstances, the power can control its Digimon host. And the Crimson Mode suppressed that power. It sealed it, forcing Gallantmon to use other powers and abilities. And that is quite unlike the GUILMON X Digivolution line, who I have yet to explain. The GUILMON X Digivolution line learned to accept the digital hazard and contain its powers inside its body, and thereby granting it with new and enhanced abilities. Abrar Kuraishi has something interesting to add to this whole digital hazard suppression subject. The following was written: something I'd like to note is that in its Crimson Mode it has sealed the digital hazard, and this allows Gallantmon to use its own power without having to spend energy suppressing it. But that got me thinking. Gallantmon has two separate power sources, its own natural one and the digital hazard. I propose the idea that by suppressing the digital hazard, its own power was tempered, so when it finally had no need to suppress it, it became much more powerful than it would have been naturally. As we are talking about power now, let me explain what is so special about Gallantmon in its Crimson Mode. You see, we cannot exactly tell whether it gained a significant power boost in terms of speed or whatnot. We only know that its power was fully released, as is written. What makes Gallantmon in its Crimson Mode so deadly, I would say, would be its weapons. It wields the Divine Lance of Light Gugnir, a lance that can disintegrate the opponent into electrons, then consigns them to oblivion within another dimension whither thou canst not follow. It also wields the Divine Sword of Light Bloodgang, with which it can cut the opponent to pieces. Both these weapons have no physical form. They are energy weapons, which, in theory, would mean that you'd need something beyond the physical to block Gallantmon's attacks when it is in its Crimson Mode. However, despite the boost in power and the weapons, Gallantmon Crimson Mode was unable to defeat the D-Reaper's agent ZERO who actually managed to destroy its divine weapons. On top of that, the D-Reaper was only a spy agent, created in order to analyze human thought and for the purpose of espionage, yet it showed overwhelming powers, making it a bit hard to gauge how powerful Crimson Mode really is. It also makes it difficult to gauge how strong this particular D-Reaper would be. So, considering the limited time of this mode, I can imagine that it will be a heavy hitter with speeds beyond the average. Its focus is highly likely to come up close to its opponents and finish the fight quickly with its divine weapons, considering the time limit, and it might make use of some projectiles while doing it. But would Gallantmon in its Crimson mode with its 5 wings be stronger than Seraphimon? My opinion, I would say it is a no, as Seraphimon simply has way too many tools at its disposal. Maybe not to outright knock out Gallantmon Crimson mode, but at least enough tools to stall the Holy Knight, making it revert back to its normal form. But that is just my opinion. I am most definitely pleased to read what you guys have in thought for this matchup and the potential outcome. Now, very important for you to know, the weapons carried by Gallantmon Crimson mode have their origins in Nordic mythology. I have explained the origins of the divine sword and lance it carries. Make sure to check out the mythological playlist on the channel, or you can click on the pinned message in the comment section. Wyvern Dukemon wrote the following comment: "To me, the Crimson mode is Dukemon releasing its safeguards. In my head, Megidramon is the naturally stronger Mega for Guilmon, and Dukemon is a more controlled being trying to lock that primal fury away. Yet the Crimson mode is the mindset of Dukemon with the raw, unbridled fury of Megidramon, channeled into divine fury. This mode, in my opinion, is a last-ditch effort to end a fight or die trying, a harbinger of hope and light, a paladin prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice for the greater good. However, this also brings a question: how much stronger is it than Megidramon and by extension ChaosDukemon?" Hey guys, this is the end of the video. Gallantmon Crimson mode. Here we have had a short explanation about the mode, how it came to be, and a little bit of what it can do. There are still many missing gaps which we can hopefully fill with our theories, knowledge and thoughts right here in the comment section. By making a video out of it, we can at least spark a debate and discuss the Digimon a little bit. Otherwise, like many other Digimon, they would simply be left behind in the dust. So write your opinions down in the comment section. I do have to say, I do have a few questions here I would love to see get answered. These are the following. 1. How powerful is the Crimson mode truly? And I mean in comparison to other Digimon, that way we can at least gauge how powerful it is. 2. Who would win between Gallantmon Crimson mode and Seraphimon? They have both 10 wings, so I think the comparison would be fair. Take into account everything, also the time of the mode. And 3. What if Susanomon fused with the Zero Arms Orochi? Again, there are only 2 confirmed Zero Arms, one that is used to create Gallantmon Crimson mode, but what if Susanomon were to fuse with its Zero Arms, if that is possible? How powerful would Susanomon really be? These are 3 questions, make sure to elaborate your answers. Oh, and in case you guys are not aware, we have discussed another Gallantmon variant called Medieval Dukemon. A pretty long video, but certainly quite interesting. If you haven't seen that already, I will put the link towards the video in the comment section. Alright, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already and drop a like to help the channel defeat the YouTube algorithm. Don't forget to write your very valuable comments, and in case you are new, know that all my videos are placed in particular Digimon playlists which are always updated, that way you can catch up on the newest and the oldest videos.